Welcome back. Now I have a special guest here in the studio. You probably have heard the name, but you might not know what she looks like. If you are a fashion enthusiast or a social media person, you probably have come across her page or her work at some point. In the last weekend at the African Magic Viewers Choice Awards, she did have she did make quite the statements across board with multiple people she did work with. She's a fashion, she's a designer, Forbes 30 under 30 recipient on the continent. That says a lot about her achievements. And recently married. I'm joined here in the studio by Veeckee James.
Thank you so much.
We have to talk about our marriage, of course, because the wedding, you left us in a chokehold for weeks.
It wasn't my intention.
Yes, it was. And it worked. Congratulations.
Thank you so
on that.
much.
A lot of us were watching things unfold, as you shared the journey until, the final ceremony.
Yeah.
What were you trying to, I don't want to say achieve, but what was the purpose of that? Because there are people who do that, to inspire, to share their passion, to share their moments with the world. What was it for you, doing that? Because you really let us in, and it was interesting.
Well, to be honest, it wasn't to achieve anything.
Yeah.
It was just to make myself and my husband happy. I tell everyone around me, this is my first and only wedding.
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to make sure that I had my dream wedding. And obviously with my dresses, I wanted to make sure that I made them know that it's a Veeckee James wedding.
You have to say your own market.
Exactly. So I've styled a lot of women over the years, and it was my turn to style myself. I needed to make that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just to make myself happy, basically, so that when I look at the videos and the pictures years after, I'll be happy that I made myself happy and I had my dream wedding.
Yeah. You did let us in, like I said, but a lot of people didn't know when this started. So I have to ask small. How did you guys meet? Just share with us a bit of your love story.
Well, there's a lot of controversy around how we met because my husband used to be one of the managers for a friend of mine.
Okay.
And that was how we met. And a lot of blogs have had a lot to say about how we met, but I've never, ever come out to talk about it. And I think I want to keep it that way.
Okay. I mean, it's your choice.
Yeah.
As long as you guys are happy.
We're happy.
You guys did it
by
for
the
a
grace
while?
of God. Yeah. We did it for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think for almost 2 years, if not 2 years, yeah. Before, I think after a year and 2 months, we got engaged. And then we planned the wedding for over 6 months, and yeah.
It showed. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
But let's talk about the business now, because I can't remember the exact time you came into my consciousness. But I want to know when you started on this journey, what inspired you to do fashion? Because on the one hand, fashion is doing amazing things in Nigeria now.
Yeah, it is.
But those in the business would also tell you it's very brutal. Which is why you hear some name brands, 2-3 years down the line, they disappear.
Yeah.
So going into this takes a lot of courage. When did you start and what made you go into it?
I started towards the end of 2018. So I would say that I've been in the business for 5 years and counting. And it wasn't easy, but I knew why I started, which was obviously to succeed at it and to be successful and to make a name for myself. And with that at the back of my mind, that really helped me to see it through until now. And like you said, there are a lot of fashion brands that started, and today we don't even know where they are.
Yeah.
And I put that at the back of my mind when I was working towards building a fashion brand, because I didn't want to be that type of brand.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a brand that would stand the test of time. I keep saying it that when I have kids, I want them to continue the business of the Veeckee James fashion business. So yeah.
When did you decide because you're known for your corsets? I think that's what I hear. Once the waist is not existent, it's a Veeckee James dress. Did that evolve into that? Was there a moment when you started, creating your unique style, or what did you start as?
I think it has always been like that. Although that wasn't how I started. I didn't start with making just corsets, always focusing on the fact that I want my clients to always look a certain way. I think I took advantage of that when I realized that, people liked when they looked a certain way. And so I emphasized on that, and I focused more on like making sure that the shape of my dresses look a certain way because of the responses that I got from the clients that I made dresses for when I started. When the dresses are really fitted, when it's really snatched, they're always excited. They always want to come back and say, they even made me know that I'm good with like the fitting of the dress and how they wanted it to be. So yeah, I think that was when I started making sure that with every design I'm making, the waistline of the person is very important to me, the shape of the client is very important to me, and yeah, it became a thing for my brand.
Yeah. When was there a moment or a dress you think changed everything for you? And what was it? And when was that?
There were quite a lot of dresses at the same time, so I wouldn't say that it was just one dress. I know that I used to make dresses for quite a lot of girls and ladies that were doing really well on social media. But one person that still stands out to me would be Tomike Adeoye. When she got married, I made a wedding dress for her for a court wedding, and that dress really went viral. So I would say that was the point where I became more like a fashion, more like a social media sensation. And yeah, that was a time where people knew that, oh, okay, she makes wedding dresses. She's so good at what she does. And I had a lot of clients from there. So yeah, that moment really still stands out for me.
Yeah. And so I mentioned the AMVC at the start of this, and you were laughing. I mean, I think for every best dress list I've seen, 3 or 4 of your outfits are on those lists.
By the grace of
God. Which tells a lot about how much, work you put into it. And that's what I want to ask now, because I saw a lot of these dresses, right? The one Tokemakinwa wore, the one Osas Ighodaro wore. Those 2 in particular, it was so intricate and detailed. How long, what is the process and time? For like a dress like that, is it something, because Nigerians, we like our last minute. I have a wedding next weekend, I need a dress. How long does it take for this process to be complete?
Well, for Osas's dress, I make Osas's AMVCA dress every year, at least for 3 years now. I've been making her dresses for the AMVCA. So once, like now, I'm already thinking of what I'm making for her next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So after last year's AMVCA, I already knew that I wasn't going to make her anything with beads. So I already started thinking about what I wanted to do for her. And obviously, I did not start making the dress last year. I only started making that dress this year. And I changed quite a number of things with the design, because the final design that everyone got to see at the AMVCA wasn't what I envisioned from the beginning. So I would say that it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of of me thinking as a creative that, okay, let me do this, let me change this. And then the duration that it took to make the dresses, I would say weeks, because I'm a last minute creative. Sometimes I know, okay, I want to do this design, but if my spirit is not completely okay with it, I just tend to just wait until I'm clear on what I want to do. So yeah, I'll tell you it took weeks, but then it took months of me thinking of the designs. But production, it took weeks of working day and night.
Do you get worried about being boxed into this? I mean, it's a signature look, right? And the people see that, that's a Veeckee James dress, which is great. But on the other hand, do you get worried about, it becomes so monotonous that you think, is there a way to, spin these things? I mean, we are not there yet.
Yeah.
Because you see that with creatives generally. With actors, it happens. You get stereotyped with the role. With musicians, you want it to sound a certain way. Yeah. So I guess the same thing with designers as well. When it becomes your signature, and you're like, okay, am I stuck with this? Yeah, is this something you probably just think about sometimes?
It's honestly not a problem for me, because I know how to play around my designs. I think it is good for a creative to have something that's like your signature. And if that is my signature, then that's fine. That works for me, because I love it when people see my dresses on anyone and they don't have to be told that's my dress, that's my design. So I think it's actually so good for a creative to have that type of thing where people know your work when they see it. But I think what's also important is for one, as a creative, to know how to not be the type of person where you're not diverse with your designs. With all the dresses I made for the AMVCA this year, I've seen hundreds of comments of people just saying, wow, They're all amazing and they stand out differently. Yeah, so I think it's just the intention behind like every of my design. We're very intentional about how every dress must look, even if they would end up having this same signature. Yeah.
Something that you shared in the build-up to your wedding that got a lot of people surprised was you took us back to your roots in Ajegunle.
Yeah, I always do that.
And a lot of people were like, so this is where, now for some people, Ajegunle has always had that creative edge, right? Especially with music and sports. Footballers, musicians, they've had strong roots from Ajegunle. But I think for a lot of people, it's like a designer coming from there. Take us a bit back to that time, and if that has any bearing to what you're doing now.
Well, I would say that it does, because my mom is a tailor and she started in Ajegunle, where I grew up. I lived in Ajegunle for, let me say, over 20 years before I moved to the island. And life in Ajegunle really taught me a lot. And I allocate a lot of my achievements to my upbringing in Ajegunle. And I've seen a lot of people who grew up from Ajegunle make it and then try to pretend like they did not come from there. Yeah. So that's why every time I try to make noise about Ajegunle, because I intend to as well inspire the young people that are there to know that they can be whatever they want to be at the end of the day. So yeah.
Awesome. How often do you go back?
Very often. Very, very often. If you go on my Instagram, you would always see me somewhere in Ajegunle once in 3 months, once in 4 months. I always go back there for outreaches. I have a foundation to help young people as well, and also help even older people preach the gospel as well. I go there a lot of times. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to a topic now that's been very hot in the news in the last week. I want to get your insights on, because it's all everybody has been talking about. This tag, if I pay you, I don't tag. If I tag, I don't pay. I tagged you, I untagged you. I mean, it's a lot of drama. For those who don't know, now there's a Ghanaian actor who attended the AMVCA. Someone made a part of her dress, I believe, and wanted payments instead of being tagged. And then it became a whole thing of why she wasn't tagged and all of that. So tags on social media are a big thing, right? Because it's social currency. Yeah. And like you said, with the Tomike outfit, for example, it gave you some of what you have now. And I'm sure the other celebrities and people on social media that you've dressed. But at the same time, money is also important. So I guess looking at this whole drama from a designer's perspective, do you see the designer's point in saying, okay, I got paid fully, but I still deserved to be tagged in this whole scenario?
Well, the issue of tag has always been a thing, because I remember when I started fashion designing, I had a lot of celebrities come up to me and say, oh, if I pay you, I cannot tag you. But value has always been like a primary thing for me. And I feel like as creatives, you cannot completely pay for a creative's idea or work. It's not possible. It's just like telling a photographer that you have paid them for their work, or an artist that you've paid for their work. It's not something you can completely pay for. And with me, I'm a designer, but I've won, let me take myself for an example. I've won quite a number of designers. And I have never hesitated to tag them, whether I paid or not. And it's not only about designers. Everybody I patronize, and if they're watching this video, they can bear witness. No matter what I pay for something, unless maybe you treated me badly or you were just too rude to me, then maybe I might not be led to tag you. So for me, it has always been a thing of, what would I want someone else to do for me? If you buy from me and you pay me, I would be happy for you to tag me. So it has always been a thing of, do it for others so that they can do it for you. And I believe that God orchestrates things like that. I really don't know the story around the Nana and Ezine, because that's her name. Yeah. I really don't know the story around it. But she was my student at my first fashion masterclass. That's the only time that I really met her in person and got to see her. If I understand what happened clearly, I think what happened was that Nana had an idea of what she wanted to wear for the AMVCA. They got the inspiration from a designer, a French designer, and then they created something different from what the designer made, even if they're similar. And she worked with a Ghanaian fashion designer who also came to my master class. So you see how
You're
happy that
value.
makes me. You know, and then the designer in Ghana put together the design from the sketch to like how the dress should look. The designer spoke to the producers of the 3D patterns from China and got the 3D patterns made and sent back to their country or sent to Ghana or sent to Nigeria. Nana reached out to Ezine, from what I understand from the stories that I've seen, to make the bodice of the dress, which is like the corset and the innerwear, which I think if the innerwear wasn't made, there's no way that you would have gotten a dress, you know. So Ezine made the innerwear, and then they brought the rubber thing, the 3D thing, to Lagos, and Ezine put it together on her. I put up a post on my Instagram advising young designers. I said, if a celebrity comes to you with the no money for tag thing, then run, because that was what I did. And that's how I have built value. Because there are a lot of celebrities who came to me then who will pay anything to wear my dresses now, you know, and they respect my brand. And I think that's very important. I think Ezine was a bit too desperate for, you know, for the publicity. And that was why she rushed into making the dress without thinking, without asking the right questions. Who did this sketch? You know, where's the thing coming from? From the conversations that I had between her and Nana, I do not think that she asked the right questions. I do not think that she played the role of a designer in terms of, okay, this design is nice. Where does my creativity come in? You know, she did not do all of that. She did clearly the work that a tailor would do. And then I think also what the problem is miscommunication. Because if they had communicated to her that there's another designer involved in the process of this whole thing, she would have known that they would tag her alongside another designer. Because her problem was that she wanted to be tagged alone. Oh, okay. It's just like me making a dress for someone, and at the end of the day, I see you tagging me and tagging another designer in Nigeria or another designer in anywhere. Yeah. I'll be like, why are you tagging this person? So
questions were not asked.
Exactly. I believe that was the problem. So for me, you cannot completely pay a creative. It doesn't matter whether you paid them. Tag them if you feel led to. I think the Ezine girl was a bit dramatic about the whole thing, because influencers and celebrities have come out to say that I don't owe you tag. Once I pay you, I have paid you. That's the mentality of a lot of celebrities, so I don't blame them. And when they came out to say that, their colleagues that I know, a lot of them have experienced them. I've turned them down so many times because they came to me with that kind of, you know, approach. Yeah. So a lot of them were under the comments saying, tell them, because it's what they would do. But it doesn't mean it's the right thing. I think that people should be tagged, whether they are paid or not, because we tag the high-end brands regardless.
Let's just end on a very quick note now, because I want to know what's next for the Veeckee James brand. What's to come? You've had a great start to the year already. Yeah. Any plans for the rest of the year? Do you have a show planned? What's to come?
Well, I don't know if I have a show planned. The last time I was at Maya Tafo's office, you were there.
Yes.
He said to me, Veeckee, it's time for you to do a grand fashion show. So it's in my plans, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year. And what's next for me is just making sure that my brand goes really far internationally. I believe that I have styled every celebrity I can think of here in Nigeria.
Market conquered. On to the next one. You want to leave us and go? How much do your dresses cost on an average?
On an average, I think the starting price for my dresses would be 2.5 million naira, $2,500.
I'm in the wrong business.
So I have dresses worth times 10 of that. Yeah.
So that's about 20,000, actually.
Yeah. I have dresses worth 20,000.
20,000. You have things that go as high as that.
Exactly.
Congratulations on everything. I wish you all the best. Looking forward to Veeckee James going global.
Thank you.
And congratulations once again on your wedding and your marriage. And I wish you all the best.
Amen.
And stay in that Forbes list.
Absolutely.